Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something a little different. It's something that I know a lot of people encounter, especially when they start to get their first camera, is that everything is just so damn expensive. And whether you're getting a tripod, lens filters, audio gear, what have you, it just really starts to add up. This is by no means a cheap profession or a hobby to get into. I think there's a lot of routes that people kind of overlook when they're buying things, and we're gonna quickly talk about some of those options on how to save you a ton of money when you're buying gear. So let's talk about the first and probably the most obvious solution, and that's just look into the used market. And I would recommend looking first and foremost into outlets that probably already sell the gear you're buying right now. Sites like B&H, Adorama, or eBay actually do have a buyer protection program built into them, especially the ones that are more geared towards professional videography or photography. They typically have a rating, condition, outlines, they'll list mechanical issues, but if you are willing to take even more of a risk than that, I'd also recommend looking into sites like OfferUp, LetGo, Craigslist, or even Facebook groups, especially the ones that are more specialized towards the camera you're looking for. Chances are somebody might be upgrading to the next model, or they might be getting rid of that camera that you're looking for, and you can easily swipe one up from somebody who's probably treated it very well. And as always, be cognizant and cautious when you're doing so. If you're gonna meet somebody, go ahead and do it in a public area and check everything about that camera that otherwise you would care about. That includes mechanical, software, electrical, do the buttons feel weird? Does it have a warranty on it? Ask the buyer everything and make sure that you have it inside of your hands and can actually feel and test the device before you take it home. You need to actually be your own researcher and figure that out before you meet them and while you actually meet them. Our second piece of advice is to maybe consider last year's model. Because the metric for what an upgrade actually is nowhere near uniform, some companies' difference between this year's model and the last one might be much smaller than you actually think. It could be a couple software tweaks, maybe some new firmware, maybe one or two new features, but you might actually be getting vastly better value by going with that older model. Chances are what made certain devices very special is probably more prevalent in a lot of the actual older models, especially if you're going with things like lenses. Even more so, there are a lot of items out there that even people consider vintage or, dated, that do have certain characteristics to them that a lot of people find very enticing. And then one more thing to take into account, and this is sort of a mentality thing, is even though it is an older item that you might be looking at, it probably was the standard used by professionals, consumers, or at least somebody out there at one point in time. See, if you're investing in something that's extremely new, you also have to take into account what's compatible with newer items. Third, I know this one's gonna be a little frustrating and actually requires you to kind of have some degree of active participation, but that is to follow those OEMs and websites and just wait. Bare minimum, at least some of them will have a holiday event or typically flash sales or promotions, or even look for B-tier stock that goes on all year round. And all the conditions that they actually merit on their website are pretty accurate, which might be something all the way from crushed packaging all the way up to basically a brand new item that might have a ding somewhere. You might actually be able to score something that's basically brand new for way less than you actually pay for the brand new price. In addition to that, and we are by no means sponsored by them, but I personally love it, honey.com will actually let you compare all the different promo codes without having to funnel around through all these useless coupon sites, and will automatically get you pretty good discounts. And always just be looking out there for promo codes, because a lot of companies, especially when they're trying to break in, do want those sales numbers and they want them fast. So somebody out there on social media groups might have a promo code available for you. And then the final way to save a little bit more money, but also my least likely to recommend, is to just consider alternative ways to get the item. Now, don't go out and steal it from somewhere, obviously, but if you can do things like down payments on a credit card, or if your gig next week is going to completely pay for the item and you just can't do it now, it might realistically make sense to do that, because a lot of companies out there tend to incentivize new signups, but I am not a financial advisor, and this one is on a case-by-case basis. And then another way to do it, but with a huge asterisk, is gray market imports. And this is all over the map, but the most realistic one I typically see is that you're trying to buy out of country with a weaker currency in an effort to save money. This comes with a huge amount of issues that most people don't want to deal with. Namely, those localizations has certain tax laws, regulations, so that might mean you get it in a completely different language that you can't change to English per se, you're not going to get a warranty, or you're not going to get any support from the OEM. And if none of that phases you and you're trying to buy like 3 cameras for a studio shoot and you have a camera repair shop down the street and don't mind paying them, then it really doesn't apply to you. But I don't recommend this to most people simply because of all the headaches involved and just not actually having anything to fall back on in case something goes wrong. So that's really about it. Those are some pretty common methods that realistically a lot of people just tend to overlook because they think that the only way to get certain pieces of gear is to just flat out buy it new and they'll accept whatever price that means at face value. But if you spend a little bit of time doing that extra mile of research, you could end up saving a ton of money, especially if you're fully looking to kit out a piece of gear that really starts to add up when you're getting deals on storage, lenses, audio, batteries, whatever, anything like that. That's probably gonna save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the long run. But again, we wanna know what you think. Does this even apply to you? Are you, somebody who kits out with all this used gear? Is your entire kit just brand new stuff? Go ahead and comment below with what you think about all these different cost-saving methods and if you've actually ever done any of them. And I really want to know what some of the best deals a lot of people have gotten, because I know out there some people have gotten some amazing things on some massive discounts. And we're always looking to see whatever avenues you're looking for, or whatever websites help you do that easiest, or what have you. And go ahead and follow us on all of our social media platforms, including skyfeatherstudios.com for the latest in industry news. And make sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all of our future videos. And if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe because we're always putting out new reviews, tutorials, techniques, and what have you. But until then, we'll see you guys next time.